Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. Rhett is out in the living room because it is Tuesday, 7th of April. Felt like it was probably like 50 degrees Fahrenheit. For some reason, that little thing isn't showing up. The little helper thing in my, uh, um, yeah, it usually shows up in like sort of the lower left part of my, browser. There's like usually like a little sort of news feed kind of thing that has the temperature and stuff on it. Oh, there it is, 50 degrees in Fahrenheit and sunny outside. That's exactly what I thought. Um, so, anyways, so we are working on unit tests. Let me go ahead and fire them up. Man, I'll tell you, run test. I don't know if like learning to do unit tests is worth it, but I will say that if you already know how to do unit tests, they are worth it. Um, but um, the thing that I learned, probably the biggest thing I learned with unit tests is that you have to carve out space to do line by line deep analysis of code. Like the code is very important that you build it out and that it's architecturally sound and all that, but then it's also very important that you look at the fine details and all that. And unit testing, a unit test cycles are sort of probably the best place to just sort of add some unit tests. Man, so it may go crazy in a little bit because my cat Kiwi is here in the house, and the my son's dogs are going to be here shortly, and usually just all heck breaks loose. Make sure I don't have any hanging wires as all these animals go around running like crazy, crazy. All right. So here we are. And so I think we are at really good test coverage, right? We're like at 90 plus percent. Yeah, 99.68. So that's three statements. Every branch is covered, and we have two functions. So we have three statements and three, three statements, two functions. It's probably a pretty good sign that something good is happening. So let's go ahead and do that. Man, so I, I always wonder if the reason I'm moving so slow on this, oh yeah, that's right. You have to do this in a new tab or it gets very snarky. Sometimes I think that I'm moving so slow in the actual completion of this application because, it's just complicated and hard. Sometimes I think it's just because, I'm trying to do sort of like the super slow-mo, like understand every little thing. But I think the real truth of the matter is just in my life as personal experience, what I have found is that once the application is up and running, if it becomes popular, your life kind of becomes miserable because then people who have a lot of influence start wanting things. And people with a lot of influence, when they want things, are just no fun at all. So I was wondering why this 8 was popping out, and it's because five characters instead of four characters. So when we're over here, I was just like, why has this got 84 and all the rest of these just have dots? And it's because of the decimal points. Um, so anyways, and that's the main reason why when you have numbers, you generally right align them. Is so that everything lines up this way. Now, typically they would probably, for like an actual application where they were trying to do calculations and stuff like that, they would probably want the 0.00, and these would all be lined up anyways. But like this is a perfect example where things are lined up along the right side. It would probably be much harder to read them if they were on the left side, if they were left aligned. Um, so typically with numbers, that's why you'll do that. All right, so the only thing we have left is a component, and it's app layout component. Normally with these components, my biggest problem is usually that I'll have like for loops and stuff that I just haven't broken down into smaller functions. And sure enough, there's this first one. So this one goes through, it tries to filter things and then it passes this function. So this is super simple, right? Because it doesn't have any closure dependencies. It's not dependent on anything outside of itself. So it can be a completely pure function. Life gets very easy. Now trying to sort of like if so, in the future, if additional information needs to get passed in, or this thing needs access to additional information, then things can get pretty complicated. That's a tough, that can be a very difficult refactor. Is like sometimes you'll see that in here it'll have access to something. I guess it's probably easier if I just do it. So like, let's say I needed to know some data, like so it's like is that the right line? No, it's 133. Let's go to 133. So in this one, literally all we do is run this filter function. And then, but I'm assuming there'll probably be additional stuff, but let's say it's like const my stuff equals blah. Then if I needed access to my stuff here, then this pulling this out is a lot more complex. Now, maybe, yeah. So anyway, so if it needs that kind of thing, then things get difficult. But you'd probably in reality, and it would guide you architecturally, or this tactic, this way of doing things will probably guide you in the direction of then just getting your filtered records and then doing additional, if you need to do additional things, doing that within this outer function. But anyway, so this is our filter, our route value filter. So route value filter. And what this will return, I guess, is this filter, I think, will return an ST entity table record. Or does it return? No, I think it returns a Boolean. And then this filter function, if it gets a Boolean, so it accepts an ST entity record. Entity table record. I'm going to call it table record. Table record. Okay, and then, yeah, that problem will go away on its own. And I believe this returns a Boolean. So basically, I just want to lift and shift this entire function out of here so that it is easier to just run a unit test against it instead of trying to manipulate um, this top functions to try to get the filter. It wouldn't be that hard to manipulate this, so I guess that's a pretty interesting little factoid too. Um, um, yeah, that was silly. Um, oh wow, no, actually, everything I just said a second ago isn't true because I need access to the router value, which came in up here. So, so now it needs to know what a router value is, and I think if I remember correctly, what we do is we take and we bind it to this, and then it would know what the router. Is that right? See, it's like it's so funny because you think you understand things, and then you like actually have to start doing it, and then it's like, oh wait, there's this one other fine detail that I don't quite have a grasp of. Because the problem is like, okay, so if I do this, I remove this, and then I say, how do I tell it? And I'm going to say this dot route value filter dot bind this. And it's happy with that, but the problem is that I don't know what route filter is over here. Which I believe what you do this, and I think this, to me, this has always been a little goofy. That's why I think it just never sticks. But I think what we want to do is this, and comma, router value. And then I think we want to do, is that right? Router value. Which is of type routing label type. Oh, misspelled routing. Oh, this is a table record. And apparently I'm still misspelling this thing. It looks like I got an extra T there. There we go. All right, so now it's saying that it works. We would know this applies the route, so we know, I think we know how to test this. And I will admit, I still don't quite get that. Let's come over here, let's reload, hope it's running. And I do, whenever I make changes like this, I usually try to test the actual, I think what we do, yeah, we go to entities, and then add viz, then go to here, and I think happens there. Okay, and that seems to be working. Totally forgot that we'd built out this other thing here. I wonder if I bet you at some point we're going to want to be able to edit in that spot, but I don't know. We'll see. I hope not. Things get a lot more complicated when it comes to like your odds. If you decide, oh, I'm going to make changes in here, your odds of having an issue um, when you go to the cyclic dependency issue goes way up once you suddenly go, oh, this was just going to be a read-only thing, and now it's a read and write. You just get a lot of issues like that. All right, so let's see. So we should have this. It seems to be working. Boom. Now we just need to check this route. Literally, all we have to do is pass in anything useful to this, and we have that. But where are we at now? So we lost some ground. Oh, we're still 3 lines of code, and we're still 2 functions. So we actually didn't lose anything. We just held our ground. All right. So it is 8:59. So I have to be at work in 1 minute. 1 minute. Happy coding, everybody. Have a lovely day. Bye.